All right, hello there. This is Mrs. Murphy here talking about paper organization and format today. Why is it important to organize your paper? It is important because it helps the reader process the information better, and it helps the reader make connections between material that is easily understood, and retention rate is higher when it is organized properly. The type of paper you are writing typically dictates which organizational method should be used. Different types of methods. Chronological order. This is typically used when the writer is sharing a process or telling a story. The information is explained in the order in which it occurred. First, second, next, last are transition words that you will typically see. Then, after are also words that you may see when chronological order is used. This may be used when writing a narrative, and that will be done and should be done in all levels of school here at HHS. Order of location. This is typically effective for organizing a descriptive paper or an essay. This provides unity by arranging details in a logical way. I typically describe this to my students as if you were standing at the doorway of your bedroom and someone asked you to describe it, you would typically look to your right and then begin describing what from that very furthest right side and move around the room and describe it in that way. That is order of location. That would provide a lot of imagery for the reader and extremely descriptive detail so they could then picture it themselves. Classification. Now, this is best used when a writer needs to break a topic down into categories and subcategories to help the reader better understand. This is used in formal writing situations, research papers, and persuasive papers. Should look at this if you were writing a research paper on the effects of schizophrenia on the patient. You would probably break that into subcategories as physical effects, mental effects, emotional effects, social effects, and then you would break those categories down even further into subcategories. This would be extremely useful time to use an outline, of which will come at a later date. Another kind of organizational method is comparison and contrast. You will use this when you are attempting to identify similarities and/or differences between two subjects. Maybe you've just read a novel and your instructor asks you to provide a comparison or contrast essay over two of the main characters in that novel. This is where you would again identify likenesses and differences in paper format. So it's also extremely important to use details. They help provide support for the reader's cause. Whether the writer is attempting to inform, to persuade, or to entertain, details are essential. They help prove the points the writer is making by validating information, and details are typically found in the body paragraphs of a paper. So we have several types of details. The first one is facts. These are details that can be proven with research. Statistics or numerical data about a topic. Anecdotes. These are brief stories that help make a point about your topic. I find that anecdotes are extremely useful as a hook, especially in a persuasive type paper or speech, if used at the very beginning. Many anecdotes will be emotional in nature and serve to lure the reader or listener in, and they become much more interested in the topic if you begin with an anecdote. I highly encourage that in my class. We are moving on to quotations. A quotation is obviously someone else's statement repeated word for word. in your paper. This repeated statement must be placed inside quotation marks and properly cited using MLA format. MLA formatting presentation will come from Mr. Hattie. Definitions. This is when you give the meaning of unfamiliar terms, and it just helps make the writing more clear to the reader. This is extremely important, especially if you are doing a research paper or something and you're coming across terms that your reader may be unfamiliar with. If this is the case, then you must define these words so your reader can continue to follow along and process the information you are presenting. Comparisons. This addresses the similarities or differences between two things. You are comparing new or unknown information to something the reader already knows or understands. This helps create a link between the new and the old material and helps for better retention rate. Now, this is how we typically begin paper writing using proper format. Next to come will be paragraph and actual structure for those paragraphs.